Every story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
A very good evening to you. Welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Omotayo Alo. In our major stories tonight. And we'll just... Thank you so very much for joining us tonight. Now the news in full. President Muhammad Buhari will begin a week-long official visit to Saudi Arabia and Qatar tomorrow, Monday, February 22, 2016. In a statement signed by his special advisor, Femi Adesina, President Buhari will be accompanied by a high-powered federal government delegation, including the Minister of State and Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Ibe Kachiko, will first fly to Riyadh for talks on Tuesday with King Salam bin Abdulaziz Al Saudi and senior officials of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Ongoing efforts by Nigeria and other members of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, to achieve greater stability in the price of crude oil exports are expected to be high on the agenda of discussions between President Buhari and the Saudi monarch. The president is also scheduled to meet with leading Saudi and Qatari businessmen in Riyadh and Doha and invite them to support his administration's effort to revamp the Nigerian economy by taking advantage of the great investment opportunities currently available in Nigeria's mining, agriculture, power supply, infrastructure, transportation, communications and other sectors. President Buhari's other engagement in Saudi Arabia include meetings with heads of international financial organizations and multilateral associations. Before going to Doha, the president will also visit Medina and Mecca to pray for greater peace, prosperity and progress in Nigeria. And coming on the heels of that trip, the rate at which President Muhammad Buhari travels out of the country since assuming office has become a source of worry for most Nigerians. While some say the foreign trips are to woo investors, others are calling on the president to focus his attention on how to address the economic challenges facing the nation. In this special report, State House correspondent Abiola Oluwole x-rays significance of President Buhari's foreign trips. His report.
Nigeria will remain a responsible and active member of the international community, promoting tolerance, accommodation, reconciliation, and pacific settlement of disputes. We will also continue to shoulder responsibilities in peacekeeping under the auspices of the United Nations.
Since assuming office in May last year, President Muhammadu Buhari has embarked on over 19 trips to over 14 countries of the world. President Buhari began his foreign trips from neighbor Chad, which according to the presidency was to fashion out ways of defeating the Boko Haram insurgents in collaboration with the Chadian leader. The president afterwards visited Germany, France, Iran, United States of America, Ghana, India, United Arab Emirates, Iran, South Africa, among others. Also, the president has played host to presidents and some leaders of countries at the Aso Rock Villa. Most of them are pledging to support the country in the fight against corruption and Boko Haram insurgents.
Mr. President, thank you so much for your invitation. Thank you so much for your leadership. And together, we will continue to work together.
Mr. President, rest assured that the international community will continue to provide full support to Nigeria's efforts.
While some political watchers are in support of the continued foreign adventure of the president, others say the impact are yet to be felt on the economy.
He is of the APC and the opposition is PDP. So we expect that when APC will be saying he is traveling for good of Nigeria, PDP will be saying he is not traveling for the good of Nigeria. This is what is expected. However, we want to know the benefits of those travels.
Spokesmen have told Nigerians that his traveling also has some benefits for Nigeria. But an average Nigerian is worried about the cost implication of his trips. For the president of a country to travel alongside his men, people believe that it is capital intensive.
Foreign trips by our president in the past is not new. As for the present president, the trips he has made so far, I don't think there's anything wrong with them, considering our position as a country. You will recall that we were almost a pariah nation in the Committee of Nations before the assumption of office by Mr. President.
According to the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, the president's foreign trips are to correct the tainted image of the country inherited from the immediate past administration of President Jonathan.
Before now, we're almost a pariah state. And the two things that have been driving investment away from the country have simply been terrorism and corruption. And one thing that nobody can fault this president on is his determination as he set up purpose in fighting these twin evils.
For the Minister of Environment, Amina Mohammed, the country is benefiting from the foreign trips of President Buhari. She says numerous agreements on climate change have been signed on behalf of the country by the president, a notion backed by the Minister of Information and Culture.
It's important to underscore whatever we do and sign on to internationally has to be driven by a national policy and plan. This includes the Sustainable Development Agenda, which we're all signing on to, the 17 SDGs, of which climate change was one, but we know that 11 of those goals have a direct impact on climate change, and therefore this holistic nature of going towards sustainable development.
And when the president was going to the Africa-China, he went with the ministers of transport, the Minister of Power and Housing, so that we can also put, across, our priorities.
But irrespective of the stance of Nigerians, the federal government claims that the country cannot be run in isolation. Hence, the foreign trips are meant to fraternize with other countries of the world. Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared former Senate President David Mark as the winner of the February 20 Benue South Senatorial District rerun election. Mark polled a total of 84,192, while his main challenger, Daniel Onje, had 71,621 votes. Mark won in 5 local government areas, while Onje won in 4. The result of the election was declared by Professor Ishaku Enige of the Independent National Electoral Commission. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, may soon experience a mass defection of its leaders and their followers to other parties. Prominent members of the party, including ex-ministers, are against the emergence of a former governor of Borno State, Senator Ali Modu Sharif, as national chairman. In recent times, some prominent members of the PDP have decamped to the ruling All Progressives Congress, and one-time campaign director of the Goodluck Jonathan campaign organization, Senator Dalhatu Tafida, has just announced his resignation. Tafida, who until recently was Nigeria's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, explains that he is leaving the party because it has lost direction. The Nigerian military has arrested two Boko Haram suspects, Messrs. Aldu Umar and Usman Umar, for smuggling themselves among the internally displaced persons brought from Poka to Gwaza IDP camps in Borno State. Meanwhile, the Nigerian military is yet to confirm the speculation over the arrest of a Boko Haram kingpin, popularly known as Bashir Sakin Yanka, which is in Hausa means Bashir, the king of slaughter. According to the media coordinator Operation Lafia Dole in the northeast, Air Commodore Dele Alonga, the military cannot confirm the arrest of Shekal's actor. Alonga, however, says that the military has sustained its counter-insurgency operations where some terrorists have been eliminated and others apprehended in the northeast. The Borno State Emergency Management Agency disclosed that about 450 children have died of malnutrition in 28 internally displaced persons camps in the state in 2015. The executive director of the board, Sule Mele, says the victims were aged between 1 and 5 years. Mele adds that more than 209,577 children have been screened for various illnesses, including malnutrition, malaria, diarrhea, and vomiting. According to him, about 6,444 severe cases of malnutrition was recorded in the camps. 25,511 have mild to moderate symptoms, while 177,662 are also involved with other illness. However, Mele says that the cause of the illness will be looked into, while calling on the state government to actually partner with the management of the camp to ensure that such occurrences are being nipped in the bud. And the chairman of the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt, Shehu Sani, Local and Foreign State, says that the various state government in Nigeria owe $3,271,960,461,003 in foreign debt. Sani reviews that most of the debt were loans collected to provide infrastructure or to create investment opportunities, and that many of them might take up to 50 years to service. He further alleges that lion's share of the foreign and domestic loans collected by the state was spent on personal luxury or wasted in maintaining local political empire, or even used to finance white elephant projects and unrealistic political campaign promises. And following the refusal of the former Niger Delta militant leader, Government Polo, popularly known as Tom Polo, to appear in court to face trial for alleged corruption, security agencies are mounting surveillance at the airport as part of strategies to apprehend him. Security personnel at the airport, including operatives of the Department of State Services and Nigeria Immigration Service, have been directed to look out for Tom Polo following reports that he planned to flee the country. As part of moves to arrest Tom Polo, police personnel had combed the Bayelsa Creeks in search of the former militant leader, who is believed to have gone underground to evade persecution. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says 381 million naira has been recovered from Omolara Amosun, wife of the immediate past chief of Air Staff, Marshal Adeshola Amosu. The EFCC say the money was recovered in 3 tranches, and accordingly 180 million naira, 101 million naira and 100 million naira. The anti-graft agency also revealed that the money was traced from the account of the Nigerian Air Force of the bank account of a company in which Amosun's wife is director. Explaining how the money was diverted, EFCC detectives say the money was sent to an account where the wife of the former air officer has interest. And also, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, wants the public to disregard any invitation and recruitment exercise. The warning is contained in a statement issued by Ohi Alegbe, the Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division in Abuja, cautioning the public to be wary of fraudsters sending letters to unsuspecting individuals, inviting them for the second process of recruitment. It says the invitation is a scam as the corporation is currently not recruiting. Alegbe further urges the public to discountenance the invitation, directing recipients to pay 21,500 naira into an account with Zenith Bank, saying anyone who entertains such invitations or deals with peddlers of such invitations does so at his or her own risk. To join us after this quick break for more stories, stay with us.
Are you aware that the death percentage attributed to Lassa fever cases is currently put at 43.2%, a figure considered very high? Lassa fever, an acute viral illness characterized by high fever, muscle aches, mouth ulcers and bleeding in the skin, is harbored by rats and spread to humans via the urine and droppings of rats. To prevent Lassa fever, avoid any exposure with rodents, rats, as well as food and objects contaminated with rat secretions and excretions. Report all suspected cases of Lassa fever immediately to the nearest healthcare institution. Help prevent Lassa fever. This message is from the Federal Government of Nigeria.
Good to have you join us again. You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News. A quick reminder of our top stories. And for more of the news and information, do visit our social media platform, facebook.com/CoreTV News, our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG. You could get more on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV, little space and news. A strange illness identified as febrile rash illness by health officials has killed scores of children in a community at Etiosa local government area of Lagos State. Although the Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Jide Idris, at a press briefing on Friday, put the toll at about 25, a visit by CoreTV News to Otodo Gbame community predominantly occupied by the Eagles reveals the number of victims are way higher.
Have to come in. So by then, we have lost more than 30 to 40 children by then. And the sickness don't take them more than 2-3 days after noticing the symptoms of the disease. And before you know, like in the morning time, the children will be playing. But in the evening, when they go to bed, they don't sleep very well in the evening. So the bed they'll be very hot. They have hot temperature by then.
Yeah, some more than 1 year, some 3 years, even some going to 5 years. Normally, we are doing environmental for this community every Thursday morning. And if there is a last month Saturday, we are using to clean the environment.
More revelations keep coming on a strange illness, just like you hear the residents say. I would actually follow up on that story and bring you more update. And moving on, the Lagos State business formal sector has been applauded for their level of compliance in paying their tax as it went due. This commendation was given by the executive chairman of the Lagos Internal Revenue Service. Details in this report.
With the challenges facing small-scale businesses in Nigeria, and Lagos in particular, the executive chairman of Internal Revenue Service, Lagos State, has embarked on a mission to recover taxes unpaid from the informal sector. Tax from the informal sector, which refers to the market women and men, the professionals and service providers have over time been a challenge for the revenue collector.
We expect that those that are in self-employment, they should file their returns, okay, and declare their income correctly to the relevant tax authority. But in doing this, we have not been getting their cooperation. So much so that majority of the people that are actually supposed to be in the tax net are not yet in the tax net.
However, the revenue agency says it's determined to devise means of collecting taxes from these sectors to ensure steady growth in the nation's economy.
One of the canons of taxation is convenience, and we have to make it convenient for them to be able to pay. Many people are willing to pay, but just the time to go there and pay is usually a problem. And this has kind of impacted on also the level of compliance. So we are looking at all avenues that could be used to ease the mode of payment. So we are leveraging on technology now to ensure that all this category of people, we want to open up other avenues of payment.
In another development, while some Nigerians are of the opinion that religious organizations should pay tax, some others defer, thereby corroborating the directive of the Federal Inland Revenue.
Religious organizations, by virtue of their registration and by virtue of the nature of what they do, are exempted from paying taxes.
The religious organization, for me, they have to be paying tax. Why? Because some of them are just on this religious whatever as a kind of business or what. So for me, they have to just be paying tax to add something to the government.
You go and be taxing religious organizations, then you turn it into a business. Alien is not a business, it is a moral issue. And you cannot quantify moral issue in naira and kobo.
Tax is one ingredient that stimulates an economy, especially healthcare systems, education systems, and public transports. Hence, Nigerians should perform their civic obligation by paying their tax promptly to the right authority. Sarah Ayeku, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Traders from Jos Main Market in Plateau State are lamenting the recent hike in prices of various foodstuffs coupled with low patronage. While some blame government's economic policies for the situation, others call for a quick fix measure that would alleviate the suffering of the consumers and traders in the city. The report. A market survey reveals that goods affected by the further devaluation of naira are those imported into the country, such as rice, vegetable oil, flour, amongst others. Before now, a bag of rice is sold between 8 and 10,000 naira. Now it goes for 11 or 12,000 naira. Vegetable oil, which was sold at 1,100 naira, is now at 1,500 naira. A bag of flour now sells for 8,000 naira as against the previous 6,500 naira price. Prices of other items like onions, garri and fish vary according to the sellers. Some of the traders complain about low patronage.
This is too expensive now. Like we bought bag of rice 20, now it's 10.8 you are buying it. It's ground so you are buying 6.5 before, now it's 8,000. And people are complaining and no money in town.
We used to bought carton of fish 15 to 17,000. Now it's cost. We used to buy one carton of fish 20 something. Some our customers they say they have no money to buy the fish.
Fish of increasing everything, like sugar increase, granite increase, and this simas, just all of them.
The hike in the price of flour forced most bakeries to shut down and a subsequent embarking on a 5-day strike by the Association of Master Bakers and Caterers of Nigeria. Though the strike was called off last Monday, full supply are yet to be made to vendors, even at a high price.
Because we used to buy flour 6,500 before, but now it's 8,500. That's why we went on a strike for 5 days. The strike does not punish our customer or whatsoever. We just let them know that things are higher.
A monetary economist, Gideon Golshit, blames the poor economic situation on the neglect of the manufacturing sector, over the years and urged government to make policies that would encourage local production.
We are importing goods at a very high cost, for sure. If they come into Nigeria, you expect what will happen. The importer will not sell them at the cost price. One, he wants to make profit. Now, you discover that if government has not taken agriculture so important, so much so that it can again encourage agricultural productivity, it will affect the production of those common goods.
It could be recalled that the Central Bank of Nigeria policy on foreign exchange placed an embargo on certain items to encourage local production in order to strengthen Naira, which is at its all-time low against the dollar. With Nigeria's dwindling economy and more bans placed on importation of materials and goods made in Nigeria, which refers to the patronage and consumption of locally made products, is fast becoming the trending phrase. The preparedness of indigenous companies to meet up with demand when Nigerians catch on with the made in Nigeria paradigm is worthy of attention. Correspondent Akin Obakeye engaged experts on this. His report.
For lack of constant power supply, resulting in high cost of production, many manufacturing companies have folded up in the last 2 decades. If Nigerians then decide to opt for more made-in-Nigeria goods, how will the few factories that have survived the harsh economic climate cope? How can some be revived? And what will be the role of foreign investors?
In China, they kill smugglers, and we should try to let them to stop, or they join the League of Killing, because they are killing people in millions, while their life is only single, and they're mastered by foreigners. They continue to talk, continue to tell the refuse of Vietnam. Thank God they have come to see what we have done, what God has used us to do in Nigeria.
The social impact of patronizing our own Nigerian products is equally enormous.
Where local industries are thriving, you discover that in these areas, you discover that there will be concentration of labor in that area. Automatically, there will be housing. People will be building houses for where workers will work. There will be traders also in that area. There will be amenities provided by federal government or by government or of those states or federal government. And you discover that these are multiplier effects of where you patronize made in Nigeria goods.
Looking inwards will definitely boost the nation's economy. The onus, however, still lies on the federal government to ensure economic policies are geared towards creating a sustainable and lasting economic development drive. Akin Obakeye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The Consumer Advocacy Foundation of Nigeria has called on Nigerians to declare March 1st, 2016 no banking day to protest excessive bank charges. Organizers of the boycott seem to be winning the heart of Nigerians as the campaign intensifies against central bank's directive to commercial banks to deduct charges from some transactions. Correspondent Victoria Solomon files on this report presented from our studio.
Most Nigerians, both high and low, and from every walks of life, operate one or more bank accounts. Some are even account holders with different banks. Not only are they to cope with queues in the banking halls, ATM as well as POS points, they have in recent weeks borne with bank charges ranging from stamp duty, maintenance fee, and more. Nigerians are, however, not taking this new central bank's directive, lying low, if indications by Okwe Banwu, the founder of Change Vigilante Organization of Nigeria, is anything to go by.
The support has been tremendous. We just hope that Nigerians take it beyond just saying, oh, I support no banking. They take it beyond just liking that post on Facebook. They actually resolved that on the 1st of March, we are not going to do banking. They're not going to die. Nothing is going to happen if you don't do banking on that day, so that we can set the precedent. And guess what? The banks stand to lose 848 billion divided by 365.
Adetoyese Alabi, an accountant, however, says the planned boycott of banks by Nigerians on March 1st, 2016 has no basis and holds no prospect for achieving much impact, adding that the rich does not feel the impact of the deductions and likely not to lend any support to the protest.
The consumer protection they are basically for people like us. They are not for
the Dangotes of our world. They are not for $10 of our world. They are not for GDR regions of our world. Those people, they can never boycott banking on that very day. That is number one. Then number two, what is the level of disseminating of this information? People in Maduguri, do you think they are aware of what the Consumer Protection wants to do? People in Osun State, in Elobu, where I come from, do you think they are aware of what the Consumer Protection wants to do? So they need enough information. This is not something you can just be doing in your room. You need to sensitize people.
Banwo, however, strongly believes in the power of Nigerians to resist what he calls unfair and unjust policies.
But if getting a bankrupt one is what is going to solve this problem, then that is what is going to happen. So if they don't listen to us, if they don't see that Nigerians are really upset about what is going on, standardize these things for us, make it clear why they are charging us, we will pick on one bank.
It is hoped that the CBN, banks, and all stakeholders will find a meeting point and avoid anything that will impact negatively on the nation's dwindling economy.
About 100 people have died as a result of a bomb blast in the Syrian cities of Homs and Damascus. We bring you more on that story after this break. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, our 24-hour news station.
Good to have you back on the foreign scene. About 100 people have died as a result of a bomb blast in the Syrian cities of Homs and Damascus. In Homs, at least 57 people, mainly civilians, were killed in a double car burning, and at least 4 blasts later struck the southern Damascus suburb of Sidia Zainab, causing at least 50 dead. However, the so-called Islamic State says it carried out the blast. Conservative Mayor of London, Boris Johnson, says it's decided after much thought to campaign for Britain to leave the EU. Boris opens that the EU was eroding British sovereignty and the Prime Minister David Cameron's reform deal will not bring about the fundamental change that was needed. His decision pits him against Cameron, who says Britain will be safer and stronger within the EU. And so with the same story that you just saw the graphics, authorities in the Fiji are assessing the damages done after a powerful storm left at least 5 people dead in Fiji Island. Clan Weston brought winds of over 320 kilometers per hour, torrential rain and waves up to 12 meters, destroying hundreds of homes and cutting electricity lines. Furthermore, reports say that an entire village was flattened, prompting the government to impose a nationwide curfew. At least 7 people have been killed in a series of random shootings in the Michigan city of Kalamazoo. 5 people were killed at a restaurant and 2 at a car dealership, including an 8-year-old boy. The attacks have been linked to an earlier shooting at a car park which left 1 woman seriously injured. The police have taken the 45-year-old male suspect into custody and have released a statement saying the threat to the public is now over. And now to the world of sports.
Our style, and that's what he delivered.
And in sport, Kelechi Iheanacho could feature in Nigeria's 2017 African Cup of Nations qualifying games against Egypt in March. Nigeria's head coach Sunday Olise explains that he is considering the Manchester City striker and the strength of his recent club performance. The Super Eagles gaffer is also weighing up the option of making the trip to Manchester to have a face-to-face talk with the 19-year-old. However, Olise is yet to name a squad for the AFCON qualifying game against Egypt, but stated that he knows the players he wants to call up for the double header in March. A third successive clean sheet proved the hard point of PSV's win in the Dutch league for the coach Philip Cocu as his team prepared to host Atletico Madrid in the Champions League on Wednesday. PSV extends their lead at the top of the domestic standards by beating Hellskills 2-0 in the performance that plays Cocu as it looks ahead to the first leg of the Champions League last 16 clash, I beg your pardon. For Wednesday's game, PSV are likely to also have a full complement of players, with Andres Godardo and Maxim Lestene returning from injury. Chelsea swept aside a below-strength Manchester City team containing 5 teenage footballers to reach the FA Cup quarter-finals. City manager Manuel Pellegrini stated that he would select a weak side after the game was scheduled for late Sunday, urging close to Wednesday's Champions League match against Dynamo Kyiv in Ukraine. The City gaffer was true to his words as most of City's big players were missing, and defender Tosi Adarabioyo and young midfielders Manu Gracia and Alex Gracia were selected along with Bassem Selina and David Fopala. However, Chelsea ended up winning the game 5-1. Cristiano Ronaldo missed the penalty as Real Madrid's hopes of catching La Liga leaders Barcelona were all but ended with a 1-1 draw at Malaga. Madrid remained 9 points behind Barcelona with 13 games to go after Raul Albertosa cancelled out Ronaldo's opener 24 minutes from time. However, a point moves Real Madrid level with Atletico Madrid and second ahead of the Madrid derby next weekend. But Atletico can move to within 6 points of Barca with victory over Villarreal. And just before we go tonight, a quick reminder of our top stars. On behalf of the entire news crew, thank you so very much for joining us. I am Omotayo Alo. Good night.